Yeah, I feel like after this video, there's probably going to be a lot of changes to this account. But maybe I'm tripping, we'll see. Alright, what's up everyone? My name is Denzel Mensah. In case if you guys do not know me, I am an ENFJ, life and personal development coach. If you want to book me, then check out the description. Go to denzelmensah.com. But in the meantime, what we're here to talk about today is my introverted thinking journey, the cognitive function TI from the Myers-Briggs as an ENFJ. And I've actually done a video like this before, about 2 years ago, about a year or two ago. And so this is the part two because, as a human being should be doing, especially a personal development coach, I'm always evolving, I'm always growing, not only in my understanding of the models and the tools and the ways that I view life, but then also my experiences and the things that I'm looking into internally. So I thought that, I would add on to this and make this a part two, just in case, if this might be a little bit more helpful to people. I guess first and foremost, just in case if you do not understand the terminology as much, introverted thinking, also known as TI, and nicknamed by personality hacker as accuracy, is essentially a function that is always asking the question, what makes sense? That means like what makes logical sense to the individual, and pretty much your understanding of anything using a framework, whatever it might be, your logical understanding of it, aside from what anybody else may think, because it's the flip side coin of FE. FE, or extroverted feeling, is focused on like what does everybody else think about this, and let's kind of like bring that together. And introverted thinking is like, no, but what do I think about this aside from what anybody else might think about it? So I have been spending a lot of time actually really formulating quite a lot of thoughts on what I actually think aside from people's judgments or thoughts, and even like what biases and fallacies do my own personal opinions like hold, asking myself if I'm okay with uncertainty, asking myself like who might this opinion offend or distance me from, and do I care? And if I'm distanced from that person, do I care enough to still share it? Do I still share it in the first place if I do care, or if it won't? How can I explain this as simply as I can while still holding all the data? And then lastly, radical honesty with myself and with others. So like the FE tact. Really going down that rabbit hole for myself has been actually really fun, because I think that I've prepared myself a lot for this season of time that I'm in. And that's definitely just one of the biggest things for me, to really hone in on like, okay, I've spent so much of my life kind of just adopting what the collective of any system or any community, whatever, might believe and everything, and then just kind of going with that. And after, really honing in and developing my own thoughts on things and continuing to develop my own thoughts on things, trying to keep them as unbiased as possible and whatnot, on my own over the past few years, that's been just really interesting for me. And then, like I said, a big part of that is also really trying to ask myself constantly, like, okay, like, what biases, what fallacies are my thoughts and opinions like holding? When I have certain opinions now, it's not just, oh yeah, this is just what I think, and whatnot, but especially if it's something conclusive, which is rare, because I really do feel like I feel like I have a holistic approach to so many things in life, So, kind of like, what I've said in many videos before, I believe in an absolute truth, for sure, I do. That's my subjective opinion. So, the irony in all of this is that I believe in absolute truth. However, I believe that our perception of the truth is what's subjective. And so I could have the right answer about the world or whatever, but my answer or my me having that answer is still subjective because there's a lot of times I just might not be able to know for sure, and I know that for a lot of people it's like, well, no, it's just right there, which it just goes into a whole bunch of like metaphysics stuff, because like there's just a lot of theory and abstract things I can throw at you with that. But that's just my personal belief that there's a lot of things that unfortunately we cannot know for certain. But that doesn't mean that you can't still hold that opinion. And then it goes down to like, are you okay with this uncertainty? So, especially having introverted thinking as an inferior function, as a fourth function, it's not necessarily that ENFJs and ESFJs just are so illogical. I mean, honestly, there probably are. Like, ENFJs and ESFJs are illogical, but like, it depends also on like their development and their health and stuff like that. But for the most part, an inferior function is not really about like how horrible you are at it, but a lot of times like how much do you really prefer doing it, and your level of certainty and security there. So I think that an EFJ will almost always have like a strong level of uncertainty in their introverted thinking, whereas like higher TI types will have more certainty with things. So it's like an EFJ might, I'm pretty sure that I'm right here, but now I don't really know, or there's just always going to be like this kind of like, as Antonia Dodge usually says it, like that feeling of you're driving, you're like, wait, did I leave the iron on at home? Is my house on fire? Like there's always like that little bit of a jump, kind of uncertainty. Like I feel like I probably didn't leave it on, but now I don't know. So with introverted thinking, it's like, no, I really do feel like this is logically sound, or I really do feel like this is right, or whatever. But now that this person's like, barking at me about it, or now that they presented this other thought or whatever, then I don't really know. And I've accepted that that could always be like just a place of uncertainty for me, but I'm still going to continue to build as much certainty as I can there, and at least have like, systems and frameworks and just a strong opinion built there to begin with. Whether it has to do with typology or religion, whatever it might be. I'm building why I think whatever I think, and I'm continuing to hold that opinion strongly. So I think that's a big thing that I've been like working on. But then it comes down to, okay, once again, like, does this have any biases or fallacies, which I've been studying like over the years, a lot of like logical fallacies and biases, so that I can like catch myself and be like, okay, wait, why do I believe this? Where did I get this thought from? If this is my thought, what are people's, opposing thoughts toward it? Like, why do they disagree why would they disagree with this side? Like, if, for example, I'm talking to someone who's a Democrat or a Republican, whichever, if they present an opinion to me that's very strong, then I might ask that same person, especially if I don't know much about the topic, which honestly, when it comes to politics, I usually don't. So I'd ask them, okay, this is a very compelling argument. Now I want to know why, if it's so compelling and everything, why don't Republicans agree with this? Or why don't Democrats agree with this? What would they say in opposition to this? So I kind of get people to devil's advocate themselves. Again, mainly when I do not know much about the topic to begin with. That way I don't just accept whatever the information they gave, because when I was younger especially, whenever people would say or assert things and they seemed certain about it, like, yeah, all you have to do is this, or like, this is exactly why, boom, 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 then I'd just be like, oh, well, I would never say something with that certainty unless if I'm certain. So, yeah, I guess this must be the right one. And I've very quickly learned that that's not always the case. So now it's like, okay, before I just take whatever you're saying, which I'm honestly never really going to do that anymore to begin with, why? And what would the opposing thing be there? Like, just give me all the information and then have me be like, thank you, so that instead of telling me what to think, I can go back and I can make that decision on my own. Which, younger years, that was something that it's not that I was too lazy to do, but I guess to an extent, I felt like maybe I was not as equipped. I didn't have the right tools, or again, that uncertainty. I wasn't good enough to be able to do that. But I've let go of that now. I'm like, okay, no, I can do this. I can come up with my very own opinions, and I don't have to fear them being wrong. And I still have an openness to like always have them refined, because I am honestly obsessed with being right. And by that, I don't mean like asserting whatever I think until the other person submits to my intellectual superiority and authority, but rather, I'm obsessed with having the right answer, in the sense that if I have something wrong, please correct me, challenge me gently. I don't want no condescending speech or anything, like challenge me and stuff like that, so that I can know, like, oh, thank you for educating me. Thank you for enlightening me. And now I'm going to keep this in mind. That way, I do not, just all of a sudden, like, continue believing wrong information. And a lot of times, we don't really know what wrong and right information is. So if I'm really strong in a camp, and then I'm now moved a little bit more toward the middle, then it's like, okay, that's good. Because I thought this was something that everyone was just certain about, but I guess, there's enough opposing evidence that's like, okay, let me hold this a little bit more loosely, but still continue to learn and being in a learning space. What fallacies again? Am I like doing? Am I holding a fallacy to like appeal to to authority? Is this a fallacy that's like genetic fallacy? Like there's so many different fallacies that can go down by this, and it's like a lot of us fall victim to that without even knowing. And so that was something that I've also like continued to like ask myself, like whenever I have an opinion, like, okay, why do I think this? What are the biases that I might be holding? What are the fallacies? And nobody can ever really be like 100% unbiased, but it is something that like, hey, if you shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you still land amongst the stars. So that's what I kind of like shoot for. And then when you move from there, or when I move from there, then I start to ask myself, who might this opinion offend or distance me from? That, especially as an FE Dom, is a very important question, because there are a lot of opinions that I've had and I've formed. I've now started like to try to keep track of them on my phone in my notes app. Whenever I have an opinion that I feel like is unpopular, or I didn't even know that it was unpopular until maybe I've said it, or I've seen somebody post it on Twitter or something, and I saw everybody else stoning them. It's like, ooh, make sure not to share that. But of course, still reading the responses so that I can know, like, why are they stoning? Because again, I want to reframe. I'm not just dedicated to having like the wrong opinion, but it's like if your logic still isn't making sense to me, then it's like, okay, my FE knows that for whatever reason, society thinks that this is bad or whatever. But I still haven't found a personal, because that's what TI kind of is, a personal logical reason for why it's actually bad. So I'm just going to hold this opinion for myself, and there's no reason really to share it. Because if I do share it, well, then it's going to probably cause people to distance from me, certain people. It might offend certain people, and there's no reason to do that, because that's what I call unnecessary conflict. Like, why would you? Yeah, there's no, for me, there's no real reason to do that. But I do feel the most intimacy with people who I'm able to share those opinions with, and it doesn't cause any distance or or it doesn't offend them in a certain way. Especially because I'm 99.9999% of the time not trying to offend anyone. I'm just sharing what I think and why, and I'm always opening and welcoming somebody to help me refine my thoughts, because that's what I do want to begin with. But yeah, That's something that I've continued to ask myself, like what might this opinion, who might this opinion offend, and distance me from. Do I care? Because if I don't care, then I'm gonna probably share, because I don't want you to infringe upon me and whatever I think, and then I feel now constricted. You know what I mean? So if I don't care, then I'm going to keep that to my, like I'm not going to keep that to myself. I will share, not in a way to like just shoo you away, unless if you're that annoying. But like I'm going to share it because I want to have my freedom and my autonomy to think what I think and know why I think it, and not have to be like feel bothered by that. But at the same time, if I do care, then it's like, okay, in that case, maybe I probably should not share this with them, unless if it's like imperative, you know. And I feel like it's not often that such things are imperative to share. Like, if I have a certain view on euthanasia, I don't have to, like, it's not a requirement for me to share my views on it with you, just so that like if we're friends, like there are certain opinions that I'm just not obligated to share, and just like you're not obligated to share certain opinions with me. That's fine, but it would be nice if we can have that kind of open space, because then everyone feels free. We there's a level of intimacy there where it's safe now, and I feel like that's again like what FE, when done properly, that's what it creates. FE, when done properly, is not just, guys, we don't talk about these things and blah blah blah. No. In my opinion, FE done properly is creating a space where we all know, okay, everyone here means well, we have good intentions here, and we are respectful of each other and respectful of each other's opinions. So therefore, from respecting each other's opinions and having those types of like thoughts and everything, then now we can trust that we can share these opinions, and not fear that they will offend other people. So I think that having a dynamic like that, where it's like you don't have to agree with me, which I really once again believe that most people probably wouldn't agree with certain opinions that I have, but if you can at least see why I have the opinion that I have and hold space for it and respect it, just as I would promise to do the same thing for you, and we still continue like, oh, that's nice, and we'd be respectful of each other's opinions there, that would be awesome, because then we're both being able to just continue to be ourselves. So there's that. Another way that I've been really thinking about my introverted thinking is, again, how can I explain this as simply as I can while still holding all the data? So I think that that's something that I've always tried to hold, especially on this channel. I try to avoid utilizing gargantuan idioms to fabricate intelligence at will, and instead, try to keep things like pretty simple. Try to make them very digestible and understandable, conversational. That way, it's not showing off how intellectual I am and how smart I am, but rather it's inviting you to converse with me so that we can become personable here, and we can discuss things, and come to an understanding of things. And so in breaking down information in that way, and finding ways to share it, I think that that's actually, to me, one of the biggest ways that you can know somebody is a quote unquote intellectual, because, or that they really understand the information, because they have now learned how to dissect it so much so that it still keeps the purity while also being bite-sized for other people. And that takes a lot of time for me to really know. Like, there's things that I've been studying for so long, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm finally ready to share it on my channel and really go in deep. But it's gonna I have to make sure that all the pieces are together and all of that. With my coaching, same thing, But once I am able to share those things, then it's just such a pleasure. because I've taken so much time to really understand and navigate every single square inch of the material, so that way I can now like cut it up in a way that's like, no matter where you place me anywhere in that maze, I can always find my way around it, if that makes sense. And like I said, still holding all of the data, because you don't want to dilute any of the information that you're sharing. And that even goes with like tact. So I believe that FE and TI go again very well together when they're integrated. And so it's always good to share what you think, and to be honest. Radical honesty is the biggest thing, in my opinion, when it comes to introverted thinking, both with myself and with other people. I want people to view me as an honest person. I want to continue to view myself as an honest person. I want to be able to have that honesty with myself. Okay, like I looked into myself and I examined myself. Dang, you know what? This really is a behavior of mine, or like this really is this. And instead of like, getting all upset and triggered about it, it's like being open and understanding, like this is why this is there, or this is why this person is seeing this. And I can discuss that with you without it being some rah-rah type stuff, So that radical honesty does not mean being a jerk, because again, when you integrate that FE, then you're just more so learning how to deliver those same truths that you have, but in a more palatable way. I've used this analogy before, but I'm gonna use it anyway. When I used it recently, then a doctor told me that this analogy doesn't really work in the medical field or something like that. But no analogy really rides on four wheels now, do they? So, yeah. All I'm saying here is that there's Robitussin and there's Motrin, Both are medicine, but Robitussin tastes horrible. Motrin tastes good. If I am a child and I don't even like the taste of Robitussin, but I'm sick, then it doesn't matter how powerful Robitussin is. I'm not gonna drink it, so then it's never gonna help me. So it's better to instead have the candy coated, the sugar coated, the flavored Motrin that does the same work that Robitussin does, because at least that's gonna do something for me, and I'm gonna actually like take it. So to me, I see FE and TI as like, still always tell the truth, but don't dilute the truth. Just find a palatable way to be able to share it. That could be with timing, the FENI timing as an ENFJ. Like, okay, it's probably not the best time to tell it right now. So I'm going to wait till later when they're in this mood, or when this, that. And this is how I'm going to share it in this way, or when there's less people around, so that it won't embarrass them, stuff like that. So looking for timing, that really helps. And then just also like understanding, like sometimes even like asking questions. Sometimes you don't even have to tell them, but you don't have to be dishonest either. Like if they ask you like, hey, wasn't my singing great? Well, now it's like you can find a way, like, honestly, I think that I've heard you sing better. Or, okay, honestly, I think that it was just really great to see you do your thing, And that's that's being honest. But if nobody asks you, then you don't just go up to the person and say like,
hey man, your singing is horrible.
You probably shouldn't do that. But don't go lying and betraying your truth over stuff like this. You know what I mean? And then also don't go just swinging around your truth aimlessly, because that's a sword that you're wielding. Continue to understand your the reasons behind why you do things. Like take the time to really like break that down. I talked about that a lot in my part 1 video. But yeah, like really understanding like the logic behind why you do things, especially as an ENFJ. It's so hard to like always communicate like all of your logical reasons behind why you're doing something, because it's just you're working from intuition. So it's just like I just know why intuitively, but I don't really have like the specifics broken down just yet. But yeah, take the time to really understand that when you can, because that'll help you better understand your own mental wiring. And yeah, that is a little bit of an update on my TI journey. So, like I said, I've been having a lot of these thoughts. I'm not going to share all of them on YouTube, probably not even half of them. But the ones that I do find helpful, that I do find will benefit other people potentially, especially when I continue to find ways to deliver them without diluting them. Yeah, I'm going to trickle them out into videos, and hopefully they'll be helpful to other people, and spark up some conversations, provoke some thought, things like that. And it won't be me telling you what to think. Just, hey, this is what I think, and I want to hear what you think and why. Let's discuss. I love that. I want to share perspectives, because who knows? We might all have it right. We might all have it wrong. Maybe one person has it right, but we won't know until we really hash it out. So I just want to gather all the perspectives there. But yeah, I will be having more videos come out with different topics and thoughts that I've been exploring. And yeah, I guess I'm excited. I'm excited to share a lot of these with you when they're ready. They are fresh baked, but I'm gonna allow them to cool off because they're really heated. And I don't want them to singe anyone's tongue and then burn their taste buds so they're not able to eat the rest of the stuff that I've baked up. So, yeah, timing. Anyway, I think that's all. Thanks for listening. Leave any questions, comments, concerns. Smash the like button if you like what you've heard so far. It really helps my channel to grow, and then it hopefully helps other people who actually would benefit from me to know that I exist. So yeah, definitely do that favor for me. I'd really appreciate it. If you would like sessions with me, whether it be profiling, coaching, relationship coaching, whatever it might be, denzelmensah.com. Check me out. Check it out in the description. You'll be able to find all of my social media there as well. And yeah, I think that's it. Done. Thank you for taking time to watch that video. If you watched it, whether it be on regular speed or 2x speed, I appreciate it. And if you don't mind hitting that like button for me, it really helps this humble channel out. Also, if you haven't already subscribed and you like the content that I make, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button. That way you'll be able to keep in touch with all the new posts that I make. And then also be sure to check out my playlist where you'll be able to find a lot of my older videos, because I think that a lot of those have some great quality content too. But anyway, thanks again for watching. Make sure to leave comments, questions, book me for coaching sessions at denzelmensah.com, and God bless.